John got home a little earlier than usual. He had been let off work because of the lack of light in the factory. He worked as a machine operator in a garment factory, a boring routine job with no career prospects. And in his personal life, nothing colorful, gray wife, snotty son, even vacation, and that is taken for digging potatoes instead of resorts. But this year at work, he was not allowed to go on vacation and had to work hard, so he sent his wife and children to the village to dig potatoes. After changing his clothes and taking a shower, John went to the kitchen to prepare something to eat when suddenly the doorbell rang. Surprised, John opened the door with interest to see who could come to visit him, as he had no friends, much less girlfriends. Standing in front of the door was his mother-in-law, who lived on the third floor of the same house. Yes, John was so lucky that even his mother-in-law lived nearby. She and his father-in-law never went potato digging. They didn't like it, that's all. By the way, she was a very attractive woman with a rather beautiful figure for her age, and John was surprised by her appearance. Other than a light, knee-length robe and slippers, she was wearing nothing else. It was obvious that she had come straight from her apartment. In a confused voice, she began to tell a strange story about how the door of her apartment had slammed shut while she was cleaning the landing. And she was left in the hallway, and her husband had gone on vacation with friends and would be back late, so she had no choice but to come to her son-in-law. Embarrassed, John asked if his mother-in-law wanted to wear something from her daughter's closet. But she declined, saying she was fine as she was. John then suggested that Linda stay at his place and wait for her husband to return rather than try to break down the door. Once in the room, John suggested that his mother-in-law have dinner, since everything was already ready. He cooked very well because his wife could not do much around the house, so he had to do everything himself. But the mother-in-law knew it very well because she herself was not very good at cooking. Quickly setting the table, John suggested something to whet her appetite. Linda felt clearly uncomfortable, not only because she had come unexpectedly, but also because she had been invited to eat and drink. But there was nowhere to go, and she accepted her son-in-law's invitation with a pleasant smile. John opened the bar, but there was nothing of substance there except an expensive bottle of 7-year-old cognac. That's all right, he thought, uncorking the bottle. We'll have to open it someday anyway. Why not tonight? Linda eyed the open, expensive bottle warily, for she could not drink cognac. It made her instantly drunk. But she did not dare to say so to her hospitable son-in-law for fear of offending him. The dinner looked excellent, as if it had been served in a restaurant. Over such a delicious meal, Linda decided that it would be all right if she let herself have a drink. She was nervous, and alcohol would help her relax a little. The cognac was excellent, and they easily drank almost the whole bottle without thinking about the consequences. They began to get drunk quickly over the pleasant conversation, and if John was keeping himself in control, Linda was clearly drifting. She said that John was the best son-in-law in the world, a hospitable and pleasant young man, not like her husband, who was a cad and a drunkard. John also philosophized about his mother-in-law and complained about his wife, wishing she was like his mother. It would make his life a lot easier. Linda then hugged him to comfort him, but things went differently in their drunken state. Their intoxicated friendliness and goodwill towards each other played tricks on them. Linda stayed the night at her brother-in-law's house, and George spent the night with his friends without realizing what was going on. Waking up early in the morning, Linda suddenly remembered that her husband had probably already returned from his friends. She quickly pulled herself together and ran to her apartment. The door was unlocked, and her husband was asleep on the bed. She breathed out a sigh of relief, realizing that she wouldn't have to explain anything to him. And then she realized that her life would never be the same again, and her friendship with her son-in-law wasn't so bad. It was just a new twist in their relationship. For many more years, we had a good time, went out a lot, and discussed our relatives. She complained about her husband because he drank a lot and didn't give her any gifts. I complained about my wife that she had completely lost interest in me. That's how we live.